So it wasn't. I started doing that, looked at it a while.
Jackie, when do you have to start doing the online testing for the
Board of Appeals. You won't be able to vote in this year's Board of Appeals meeting. I think we have 2 of you that are qualified. But you'll want to make sure you do it, I believe it's
Can we
before.
do it with two?
Yes, you have to have at least one person who's done their testing. And I think you have until usually February of the year to get it done.
Yeah, this was, I told her, I said February, and then if you do it after February, you'll say this.
Yeah, you didn't make it in for this year, but you'll want to do it right away so you can be ready for next year.
So is it Joe?
I can double check.
Joe,
Joe.
you did it, yeah.
Yes, correct.
We got our one.
And then there's one other person.
Dale.
I think it is.
It's me.
That's you?
you. Yes, I think it's Larry maybe. Has everybody signed in on the sign-in sheet? Otherwise, we can send it around.
How you doing, Irv?
I'm all right.
How's ice
It doesn't
cream?
look like everyone has, so I'll send it
It's
around.
all right. I would say it's all right, or then you gotta apply.
You gotta call. Oh, that's right. I'm so sorry. Oh, my gosh. Okay. And I need to get the oath of office. Sorry, everybody. Got so wrapped up in the electronics, not doing my duty here. All right. Okay, at this time, I'd like to go ahead and call our meeting to order for the March meeting. At this time, we will stand, remove caps, and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And then I'll check to see, roll call, Joe,
Yes.
Dale,
Here.
Jim,
Present.
Arnie,
Yes.
Larry,
Here.
Marlene, and Jackie here. Okay, and then at this time, I'm going to administer the oath of office to Supervisor Larry Davis. He was elected at our last township election on March 10th for a 3-year term. So Larry, if you can stand and raise your right hand, and I'll just have you repeat after me. I, Larry Davis,
I, Larry Beagles,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States and of the state of Minnesota,
of the United States and the state of Minnesota,
and faithfully
and faithfully
for and on behalf
for and on behalf
of the citizens of Birchdale
of
Township,
citizens of Birchdale Township,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office of supervisor
discharge the duties of the office of supervisor,
of the township of Birchdale
township of Birchdale,
in the county of Todd
in the county of Todd,
and the state of Minnesota
state of Minnesota,
to the best of my judgment and ability,
best of my judgment and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
All right, and I'll get you. All right. At this time, I'd like to call for a motion from the board to select a chair.
I'll make a motion to have Jim Carson.
Okay, Arnie has made a motion to elect Jim Carstens as our chair. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Joe has seconded. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? And carried. Okay, Jim, turning it over to you. Thank goodness.
I will elect a vice chair, and I would like to nominate Joe Ostendorf.
No, I will second that.
First and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Addition to our agenda,
I have a couple here, we're going to the township road report, we put the open bids for crack filling. And C, Elcott culvert on north end of Elcott.
I also have two amendments I'd like to make. Following Arnie's north end culvert on Alcott, I'd like to suggest the south end culvert. And one item under new business, as part of the road dust control. Not sure how to fit that in. About road census.
Should we add it just to the seeking proposals for dust control?
Yeah, it's just
Put that under letter N.
a
Okay.
general discussion item about it. Thank you.
anything else I would like to add under resident comment B, I'd like to speak to the board as a resident. Any other changes? Looking for a motion to accept the agenda as seen.
I'll make that motion.
Joe's made a motion, to have a second.
I'll make that.
Larry second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Any corrections to the minutes from last month? Not, we need a motion to accept them as printed.
I'll make that motion.
Already made that motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Larry seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Treasurer's report.
All right, at our last meeting, we had $301,080.43 in our checking account. We earned a dividend of $53.08. Checks at our last meeting totaled $14,117.13. Electronic transfers totaled $1,926.48. We had no deposits. You can ignore that gas tax. So the balance tonight is $285,089.90. Reconciliation with the checking account. The bank statement balance shows $300,873.54, less the checks that have not cleared of $15,783.64 for a balance in the checking account of $285,089.90. Our money market account, bank statement balance shows $55,862.79 plus interest earned of $40.33 for balance tonight of $55,903.12. Our share account remains at $36.09. So total monies right now in the Birchville Township accounts are $341,029.11.
Questions on the treasurer's report?
I'll make a motion to approve the treasury report.
Already made that motion, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Dale seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
What's the check to Dennis for $1?
So, I'm back here, I actually called him at it because I was like, why are you sending a bill for $1 when you sent us a bill for $743? Her, answer was, she got back to me and said that is correct. She said there was a property value change on property valuation for the township, which I'm assuming is our building. And I guess it changed it by $1. I know.
There's some nice sets up. Nice sets out there now. These can. One that's been sitting here. Yeah, I don't know. Lost it.
Full function already, up there. Full function. And quick,
Here's another with some of these fields. But this one is just a simple.
looking for a motion to approve the bills.
I'll make that motion.
Dale made that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Joe seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. President comments? Alan?
Yes, sir. I would like, you guys said, consider, you have some lots back here that are landlocked with the creek between here and your other lots back here. I was wondering if you would be interested in splitting them off and selling like 3 lots back there. I could add them to mine, my adjoining property here. If I ever were to split my property, I got 5 acres there. That would make a perfect 2 acres with my shed over here, just with them 3 lots over here. And just for a little storage or something back there, I mean, something to consider. If you don't want to sell it, that's fine, but if you do, it'd be cool. I think it'd be like lot, how many feet you got here in the front here, 100 or 150, do you know?
I'm not sure offhand.
If it's 150 feet, it would be lot 10, 11, and 12 in block 9. Just something to consider. I'd be interested in purchasing them. Kind of like when I sold to Ryan and Cynic over there. That's, I mean, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it's no big deal, but it'd be kind of cool. Just,
Al, how many lots are in the total, what the township owns?
it looks like 6. If you have 150 feet on frontage here, you would have 6 because they're 50 by 150 lots.
Thoughts from the board?
You guys can think about it, it's nothing I need right
Well-
away.
My thoughts are, bring us some maps so we have something to look at.
Yeah, well, you guys should have something on your property description, shouldn't you? What
This
your,
was legal one.
We can,
Yes, I'd suggest that we,
Put it on the agenda for, yeah,
yeah, we table it and get some more information on our end and decide.
Yep.
And then, can discuss it. You might
Could-
suppose.
Sure.
we might want to talk to the township attorney about the process and how you establish a sale.
Maybe maybe we have to keep this as one parcel too.
Yeah.
right,
so we'll put it on the agenda for next month.
okay,
Proceed with gathering information and we'll stay in touch.
perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
At this time, I would like to speak to the board as a resident. I'd like to thank everybody on the board and all the residents, any other people that helped contribute to the grant writing and grant proposal. I think it's a big undertaking by some people, and I think they did a great job. So as a resident, I'd like to thank those people. I specifically like to thank Jackie for her simple honesty in her speech and writing that I think really helped us get these grants. You got numbers for us, and I think she does a very, very good job. She saved this township a lot of money on this one and previous one, so special thanks to her.
Thank you. Thank you.
She's a grant goddess.
Yeah.
I'd also like to thank Joe for
Lot of help.
a lot of his work on this project too. I mean, he's put a lot of time and effort into this project, and as a resident, I appreciate that. I'd also like to state that we were granted funds that are just don't fall off a tree. They're our resident taxpayers' money and also the Minnesota taxpayers' money. So as a board, I think we have to do our due diligence of spending correctly and showing the state that we took this grant and used it properly and efficiently and use the money correctly and try to save for future projects. So as a resident, that's my comment to the board. Thank you.
How much was the state even know? Was it 10 million?
Well, and I would also point out, Nick is here from Whitseth Engineering. Whitseth Engineering did assist me in the writing of the grant and pulling the information together.
Thank you, Nick.
I forget, Nick, do you remember what the total was? I think Rashmi sent it out and how much across the state their requests came in.
Just give me a second.
It definitely served to show that there's a great need for road repair in Minnesota, and there's not nearly enough money that everybody wanted. Like the number that was requested was way above the amount that they had to give.
Here it says, MinDOT received 233 application submittals, including total cost estimates of 1.143 billion, with requests of 277.6 million for the specific grant that you went after. And then here it says they gave out, 49 million in geo bonds for the hour. So they needed, the total requests were 277.6 million, and they gave out 49 million.
So it was not nearly enough.
Another big thanks to you getting some, so we must have did something right. So, anything else on that? Moving on, no report. So, township road report.
Yeah, Bill Bertram and Bertram Asphalt, him and I got together last week, I think we drove some of the roads for crack filling and stuff like that. He had a couple ideas that some of the roads that we could make 4 or 5 years out of it. One was Elcott and Alligator job that goes down from off of Elmwood and goes towards the old Ward Springs store. That's Alligator, and there's water, went by there yesterday or today, and water sitting on the road. It's full, a lot of cracks and potholes. So I'll turn it over to Bill. He has some ideas what I think we could do to fix it up and get 4 or 5 years more out of the road.
I think the wisest, most economical way to do it would be spray patching. And I think, I measured all the potholes and a lot of the alligators. I think I could do it with 3 loads. If you want to try one and see where that goes, see if you like it. I put some proposals in the crack seal bid, so you have some choices. But spray patching, I don't know if you guys know what that is, but that's it's the same materials as like a chip seal, where you put CRS2 oil down and then the granite rock on top. But this is localized, so we take the pothole, clean it out, put a layer of CRS2 in it, and then fill it in with rock and oil mixture, so it's full, and then put a little dry rock on top. Dry rock is just for tracking purposes. And then that holds in there really well. And it's way cheaper than bringing in a mill through and cutting sections of it. So for a road, especially where you're looking to replace it in 5 years or something, it's pretty economical to do spray patching.
Ernie, did you also look at the cracks on Almond?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a recommendation for those?
What about the cracks?
Just how to,
With them dipping and stuff?
well, they're separating, they're dipping, and I mean, they're plates that are shifting over time, and do you have a recommendation on how to preserve
I would
those from
spray
cracks?
patch them.
Okay.
We can spray patch right over the top of that and fill them in, and we actually leave it at just a hair high, and then it'll pound down in there with traffic, and then instead of feeling that dip, a little bit of time, it should be fine. Spray patching works really good for filling them in. And that I had figured into that 3 loads we could do.
All along.
We would do all the cracks that are recessed bad,
Mm-hmm.
and then the potholes and the worst of the alligator areas. We wouldn't be able to get all the alligator areas because most of that road is, but enough to hold it together, for years.
That road's a little bit like mouse and a cookie. You treat one spot, and you move it to the next spot adjacent to it.
So then would that be also all the way down to, 19, or the road that comes from Melrose, the highway?
Oh, you mean this Alligator?
Yeah,
Yeah, we looked at the bad spots right by Highway 28 there.
Yeah.
I think Larry and I, we filled them on many times.
I know.
Found out.
They always work though for the season.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the season, they're gone, but
The cold patch will pop out again, especially after a hard winter.
Yep.
You might last for the summer, but then that's about it. Cold
Yeah.
patch is gonna pop up.
And
Spray
it
patch stays there.
oh, good.
Yeah, because we looked at all the way up to Highway 28 there and those bad holes and everything.
What time of year do you recommend doing it? I mean, obviously summer, but
Anytime. We go fire up in like a month. Yep, and I would do that before the crack sealing. I would recommend doing it before the crack sealing. Then we can crack seal right up to it. So if we spray patch, whatever we don't get spray patch, we can crack seal the cracks right up to it.
you said that it's kind of a patch for a road that we will look at doing in, say, 5 years. So the expected life of what you're proposing would be roughly 5 years?
It'll stay in there longer.
Okay.
That spray patch really doesn't come up.
Okay.
Sometimes it'll sink in, but you can always put more over the top, it doesn't come out. It stays there. The only time you can't do it anymore is if the base, if you're down to the base. But as long as there's asphalt under there, we can spray patch it. If the pothole gets bad enough that we're down to the base, we can do it, but the chance of it coming out is on the high end. But as long as there's asphalt underneath, let's say there's 4-inch road and you got 2 inches gone, we can fill that in. And it's way more economical than,
So how much does one load cost?
one load is 7 ton of material, that's 6 ton of granite chip, 1/4-inch granite chip, and 1 ton of oil, CRS2 oil, and that's 5,700. Yep, I put 3 proposals in there, one for 1 load, one for 2 loads, one for 3 loads, give you some options.
Any other questions for him? No. Thank you for your time.
Mhm.
Unfinished business?
No.
Alcon Drive?
We don't wanna do
We're
those.
supposed to bid first.
Do we wanna do the, whole thing first, or? Before we
I think Arnie added it as an amendment to the agenda to roll right into opening the crack filling quotes if you want to do it right now. And I'll get you last year's. Precision.
This is, last year. There's 3 of them. And there's this one and then the one that looks like. This is, Precision last year and this one.
They start people. Counties or townships.
All over. With chip seal and crack seal, we'll run the state. But for like paving, then we kind of do about a 8-9 county area. We'll run from the cities on out to Todd, Hope, down past McLeod,
Precision.
up towards past Holden Park. But for like crack sealing, for like crack sealing, chip sealing, spray patching, we'll run the state.
the total, was that was an estimate for last year.
This was listed last.
Yeah, that was the estimate. I don't know what the total is.
What was the bill for a crack filling last year? Yeah, this was the proposal, what's the final bill that comes for?
Oh, how much we spent
Yeah,
on crack filling?
So we did the crack filling precision.
precision.
Not as fast as you, really. Really so fast.
No. It's a second.
License precision.
But Bill, your total bill for the crack filling. Yeah, did you just figure out how much?
13,000.
What I measured, it should take about 15,550 pounds.
I'm like, I beat you.
A pound, times the 24.
I just thought of that.
If we don't use that 13.
Oh, yeah, you got that right there.
I'll
Yes,
charge
look
you
it
that.
up on
I'll
that.
charge you for whatever we use. But this is my estimate of what it should take, and I'm usually right on the line. And that's where this comes from. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And then the last two pages are the spray cash. My insurance is in there too.
We spent $13,770.
Proposal.
And if you do a bunch of the spray patching, it'll cut down on the crack seal. Because we won't need as much, because we won't have to cover it with crack seal. Crack sealing is kind of figured that you aren't doing any spray patching.
I'm sure you submitted a quote.
I think I did it last year.
I can't recall if I remember something or not.
I think last year I did.
Yeah, Joe, we didn't crack fill Alcott last year, did we? No.
No, we didn't. We did 2 years ago, and that was when we sent it all into the ditch
Mhm.
because it was so late.
Yep.
So on your bid, you looked at all the roads?
Yes. I
So,
drove them all right before I met there.
so basically, then this bid doesn't include Alcott either.
It shouldn't have to though for this year.
I know, but I,
Yeah.
just looking at the estimate,
Yes.
previous.
So it would be all the tar roads excluding Alcott and the one we just paved, don't forget.
Right.
And that maps in there, the ones that I looked at.
Those are next page.
I think there's 3 maps.
Would you off your top of your head know how much micro sealing is per foot for full road or not?
Chip seal?
Chip seal, yeah.
That depends on square yardage. My chip seal mobilization is expensive because we come in with semi-loads of equipment. So the more you do, the cheaper that per price gets, per square yard gets.
Because we had one road that's just a short one, 1,400 feet or something like that there. We just paved it last year.
If, you may want to look at doing a little more than that. You'll get that mobilization cost a little further. You know, like this main road going in through here would be a good one to put a chip seal on. Because that's in fairly decent shape, that stuff. But I could put a price together for you for the chip seal. That wouldn't be a problem. 1,400 feet doesn't take much.
Yeah.
You know, so. And I can put it together for you. It's just the first square yard price is gonna be higher than normal.
So is there, when I'm looking at these bids type of products, there's different names. One,
Can I take a look?
well,
Can I explain?
one's got Maxwell, Nuvo, another one's Deary 3723.
Yeah, the Maxwell's not a very good product. The Deary is not quite as good as Craftsville. Craftsville product, to me, that's the best one in the city, in the market. That's what all your specs come off of and everything is Craftsville numbers. They all copy Craftsville.
When you say specs, you mean like the state standard for,
They all come off Craftsville numbers because that's the best product out there by far. You're not gonna get the, like I heard you mention before that it all ended up in the ditch. You're not gonna get that kind of thing with a Craftsville product. It's gonna hold way better.
that had more to do with weather, because the ground was cold when it was put down.
Okay.
Late in the season, and then following across, it wasn't anybody's fault other than it was just applied too late.
Okay, yeah, it should be 45 degrees.
Yeah, it was below that.
But some products you'll get where they almost like they almost like roll right off. And that's your cheaper product. We always run the Craftsville products because we do a fair amount of jobs that they're inspected and they'll dip our tank. And I don't want to put any cheap product in there and they dip our tank and say no. So we don't run any, we run that Road Saver 221 all the time. No matter what we're doing. Even if we're doing a parking lot, we still run that product.
You guys doing the road stuff, looking at last year?
Well, all craft, I mean, the ones we did last year, they all got new crafts in, right, Larry?
Yep.
With the stuff that you're talking about, yours gonna crack the same way or not?
Some of it'll crack, but all of this was cracked.
Everyone.
Yeah, you got a seam there, just, why everybody does it every year.
We're trying to preserve these roads for a few more years, and we know how, if we stick with doing the same thing, how it's the end result is going to be. I propose that we try this. We were always talking about, I guess, the only amendment I would have is there's one paved road that's not on this list that we should have, which is in Massburg.
Oh, yeah, we got that there.
I'd suggest,
Yeah, there's got about 10 cracks maybe in it.
yeah, but
That's not a problem.
No.
That's
so I guess I'll make that motion.
Joe made a motion, any more discussion?
I'll second.
And a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Bill, you can get hold of me when you start or whatever you want to start.
Do you guys wanna sign that tonight, so I can throw it on my schedule as desk? And then do you wanna do any spray patching?
I would like to try one load at least over here on this here road over here.
Alligator?
Yeah, Alligator.
It's the sort of thing, if we try one road and we like it, we could have you come back and do more if we wanted.
Yeah, most certainly. That's what I had told Arnie when we looked at it, I said, we just wanna try one load. See how it looks, see how you like it. I've never had a township say, we don't like that. So,
We need to have a motion for that,
We did right.
for the
Oh,
additional season.
Should I amend my motion?
Yeah.
You can.
Okay, better. I'll amend my motion to that we will do crack sealing on all the roads with the addition, all the paved roads with the exception of Alcott. So the proposal would also, everything in the proposal, but also the addition of Ambassador. And that we will reserve the right to do sealing on all of them, but we'll try one load to begin, not to make it too complicated.
I'll still second.
Sorry, Jackie.
That's all right, I'm just,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The 10 words will do, I'll use 20.
This was a copy of this.
you want me to email it back to you? Is that okay?
yeah, that'll be fine if you could.
Okay, I'll do that right away in the morning.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Bill.
Okay.
Did you do the spray patching one too?
That's what I ended that way.
Oh, here, I think that says
Just threw the one load, I think.
one load.
Yep.
Okay, so here's two and here's three, each one. Mhm.
Thank you for coming up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Over.
I got a call tonight from Lynette Smith. Schmidt. 12352 Alcott, where we have done culverts under the road, and we put the granite in there. And she's saying that, and I believe that we've talked about this before, but she wanted to bring it up because she said that as long as we're doing the Alcott, we should throw this in there. And I told her that part is dead and gone. I mean, we've done that. But she's saying she's getting water that is not going through the culvert, that's going over her and flooding her driveway. So I don't know. I think we've talked about that before, didn't we, last year?
The culvert on the north end?
Yeah.
So it must be underneath your driveway going into the,
Yeah. Wasn't there a culvert that I think was like 12 inches or,
in half holes, yeah.
and it was,
I'm not sure which property you're referring to. I'm trying to look on the map here. What was the number again?
12352.
So it's the culvert underneath your driveway as well.
Yeah, and it's flooding your driveway, but if I remember right, that was what the engineer at that time had recommended.
So we can replace it.
Yep, we put it close in.
Yeah.
But they heard-
So. Does this look familiar to you all?
I think with the melt we've had this year, everything got really hard to,
Yeah.
did you get a chance to look and see what?
And she called me about 6 o'clock and she said that her son had some pictures of it. And I said, well, I'll go on the website, get the email address from Birchdale and send it.
It'd be good to send it. I've checked that culvert twice now since the snow started to melt, and there was some pooling in Frederick's yard right next to, Schmidt's. But it was doing exactly what we designed it to do. It was
Yeah.
pooling, it was going in the ditch, it was going in the culvert, it was going down to the catch basin, both the surface water and the tile water, and went across. And I didn't see any visible flooding on the township road or within the ditches. But
Right.
I was by there twice. I spent a total of a half an hour at that site. So if she has some other
I
images,
told
it would be useful. But I guess the point I'm gonna say is, I think we've addressed it and we haven't had a measurable rain event at all.
I think we've kind of beat it to death. And I told her, I said, you're in luck because we're meeting tonight at 7:30. Come on and talk to us then. She said, well, I broke 4 bones in my foot and I can't do it. And I said, have your husband come. And she said, well, he won't.
So we've got pictures coming then, right?
Yep.
So,
Allegedly.
okay, well, let's wait till we see something.
Where it looks on the map, it's a private land issue, not a
Right.
township road issue,
That's-
from what I can see on this map. So until we know more.
You know that, Jeff?
No.
Don't. Right.
And then Joe, you had,
Yeah, so, just wanted to touch on the culvert on the south end. So remember, we mediated every culvert on that road, save for one, that last year wasn't producing an issue. Had 3 calls on it and actually had been out there for different reasons, and it seemed the culvert itself was froze up, but it was pooling a lot of water on the east side of the road. And it hadn't overtopped the road, but it had gotten to the surface. The culvert thawed, some of it ran through, froze again, went up. But all of that to say, the culvert is holding, culvert is fine, but I think we should consider just putting a little bit of riprap around both sides of it just to help stabilize it. We're gonna put a new road surface on across the top of it. Not talking about anything too invasive. We did inspect the culvert last year, and so we know it's sound. But just kind of putting an apron and trying to keep that water back a little bit and stabilizing the ditch, because it was quite a bit of erosion right up to the edge. And I hate for us to put a new road out there and have the same thing, when we stabilize every other culvert except this. So,
from freeze and thaw issue, but gotta do that every year, so.
correct. It's not it hasn't been a flooding issue. Culvert, Nick and I looked at it last year, it was appropriately sized from everybody's estimation, same with NBC, who looked at it and inspected it. When they cambered it, it was sound, it was just this freeze thaw. And since we're looking at doing the road, I would recommend that we consider it. I was out with NBC looking at something else on the road, just looking at their work last year, as we talked about some of the other projects, which I can talk about either later or next meeting. Ask them for just a quote of what it would take to put aprons on and stabilize it. So they're gonna come back with a number, we can make a decision, but I just wanted to, because it was top of mind, have us consider it before we get anything with the road.
Is that freezing all the way, or, I mean,
Well, what's happening is there's a little bit of a bowl on the east side, and so the water's running out of this hill, it's collecting there right by an old farmyard, and then it's freezing, and when it fills, especially with the culvert being frozen, we can jet it out, right, and the water will run. But it's to about 2 to 3 inches from the top of the road. The only thing that had me concerned was, it's not that much money to stabilize it, but it was that it melted and then flowed and then froze again and filled up. Now, we've had a pretty dry spring, it's not too concerning. If we get a lot more and it goes through that same thing, then I'm not concerned about going across the road, I'm just concerned about it eroding out the ditch when it lets loose. That's my only thought.
you don't need anybody to go out there and blow it out with it.
We've had enough warm days that it's trickling on its own and it'll go, but, and it's been there for 25 years without an issue, but, I'm just looking at it, we're gonna invest a lot of money an ounce of prevention for not that much money, we could save an issue.
Yeah, but if you need it, I got the number for the guy that was.
Sounds it's big.
Yeah, it is. It's a 24 inch. It's not
Is that 24 inch?
pretty sure. Okay. So no decision needs to be made. I just wanted to make us aware. Yes,
Put it on the agenda.
Yeah, I mentioned it to Arnie that it was backed up there. My concern was there was a pothole right there.
Yep.
Now, about 2 days after I talked to you, the water started going through. So,
I looked at it before, and then Arnie asked me to go look at it after you reached out to him, and that's when I went and inspected. The pothole is just a pothole.
Yeah.
It didn't wash out the culvert at all. It's about 3 inches deep. But that was kind of what, the second time seeing it, kind of what got me thinking we should do something.
Yep.
Or at least consider doing something. So thank you for raising it.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, unfinished business, Alcott?
Do you wanna go, Joe and Nick, or?
I can start, yeah.
Okay.
So, thank you for saying what you did, Jim, about the grant. We did get a grant, although it comes with some caveats. So it's kind of a bit of a blessing in disguise that we've learned after the fact. So, Jackie and I have met with Rashni as well as Nick and Lauren Feldbaum and Tracy. And so what we've learned is that there's a little bit of I'll try to explain it the best way I can, because it took me about 25 minutes of that call to get my head around what the issue was. So we asked an engineer to go out and get us a bid to pave a road. And they did that very well. And they said, you're a township road, you're looking at paving it. We know you're gonna apply for a grant. I think we can all agree the odds of us getting a grant were pretty low. We're all surprised, but pleasantly we got one. But what we've learned is if to get the grant, we now have to comply with state requirements and regulations for that bidding process, which we didn't do. And furthermore, there's no way that we could have built in a provision for our original proposal to include the possibility of getting a grant, meaning you have to have a state aid number to qualify, but you don't get a state aid number unless you get a grant, unless you're a state aid road, which we're not. So what it means, essentially, is that, and Nick is gonna go through much more detail of this for us, so we can have some numbers to think about, and I would propose that we don't make any decisions tonight, because we have some time. We either forego the grant and go ahead with the process on our own, or we accept the grant, but then we have to go back out and rebid, following the regulations for the state, for a state aid road, of which then the costs go up. And we have to rebid the process, which means we would not be able to, even in the best cases, tar the road this year. So the way Lauren Feldbaum described it, which I think he's right, is we have two great things that we have to choose the lesser of two evils. We have a cheap road project, comparatively speaking, that we can do this year, or we have a grant, but we can't do it this year, and the cost can go up. And we know how competitive the grants are, so it's even more of a boon that we got it, but it comes with a lot of caveats. I have some personal thoughts about this. I've been messing my head around with it for more than a day, but I'll save that and let Nick speak, and we can discuss it.
And I guess Joe has summarized it pretty well. To get into the details about the requirements of the grant, it needs to go through the state aid process, which involves us taking the plan set that we currently have, and there will be some requirements that will affect the plans. So we'll have to add some signatures to the title, to the signature blocks to the front page. And then the county will review the plans, the state will review the plans. There's a checklist that goes with that, and a whole bunch of other supporting design documents that go with that. And the state reviews all those and then approves the plans. then that's when they would, allow us to bid the project, with all of the additional, specification items that we'd have to include, such as prevailing wages, truck rental rates, workforce certification, items, things of that nature. And then there will be some additional, testing requirements, that the state has when there's grant money involved. They want you to follow the schedule of material control, which would be included in the spec, and then you'd have to, test all the materials in accordance with that document. And so there's some testing required, from that end of it. So, and yeah, like Joe said, the timeframe to get approved, right now is when, MnDOT is reviewing all of their plans that they're bidding and are moving forward. And so it's always the time of year when things are kind of jammed up for review, and all of these other projects have kind of come before ours. That being said, when we put the plan set together, we did follow all of the statutory requirements for this kind of a project, so it does meet the statutory requirements. So that part of it, we don't anticipate there being significant comments or changes from the state in the plans themselves. It's just adding the stuff that they want to add would be the main thing for us. So that part of it will go as smooth as it can, but it's still going to take some time for them to get to it and review it. And they'll probably have some comments and we'll have to make some small changes. And then once we do that part, then they'll give us authorization to advertise and bid.
Have you ever dealt with a grant like this before?
Yes, yep. I helped out with Nokomis in Alexandria that had outlet money. And then there's been a couple others, other communities that we, but that's the most recent one.
I think maybe just to clarify though, correct me if I'm wrong, we're in a bit of a unique scenario because we've been talking about this road for 2 years. Jackie's applied multiple times for this grant. And we went through the normal timeline for the bidding process. It's not like we waited to the last minute or we went too early. We followed the right timeline. We're hitched our horse to the wagon of Todd County because they're setting up a hot mix plant less than a mile away from the road. And so there was opportunity savings by that. But and the question I asked directly of the state MnDOT employee was, well, it sounds like we got the timing wrong. And she said, well, no, your timing is right and the grant timing is right, but it takes place 30 days after we let the bids. So this process is set up. What it's intended to do is set up that we apply for the grant and we get the grant last year for a road that we're paving this year. That's how it's intended to be. We're kind of in a unique case that we got the grant the year that we're trying to do the project, and we followed the right timeline for the bids, but it was a month too late. Well, 4 months too late in reality, but.
So what numbers are we looking at if we proceed this year with the bids that came in? I mean, I look at some of this and there's probably going to be considerable amount of cost added to this. And what is the savings? I'm thinking your mind's going in the same direction as mine. So where are we at now to do this project?
Nick worked that up for us. It's in this handout. If you look at this.
I've looked at this, I've not totally understand it, so maybe explain it.
Yep, I'll dig into that.
Does everybody have a copy of this, so you know what's going on? Go ahead.
The way that we took a look at this, we took the bid numbers that we got, because we know what the bid is, with the county project. And so there was some savings because of that.
So I'll just stop right there. So the lowest bid is an acceptable contractor?
Yes. And that is the right column. So if you remember, we got bids. We can't discuss them really, but we got a bunch of bids. This is assuming the lowest bid, because the county is going to award that bid to that contractor. Okay. They've awarded it, they haven't approved it as a county board. It's been awarded. Okay. So assuming that, you look at option 2 current bid, that's those numbers. And then we also did look at it for all of this, the total project cost, so including engineering and grant plans and all the other items that will affect the total project cost. And that includes some of what we've already built for the project. So
Yeah.
it's not really even, so addition, if you look at the option.
So that, okay, that's when they both say with the LTA grant, but now if I look at this, I get understand.
Yeah.
Reading this, they still say that they were both with the grant.
Yeah.
Yep, yeah.
So maybe just to factor this in, so the one other thing, and I hate to talk about global politics, but the other thing that happened in the last 30 days since the bids came out was we're at war with Iran. And we know fuel prices have gone up, which means trucking prices have gone up, which also means that bituminous is largely made of oil, those prices have gone up. So what we've asked the engineer to do is to say, okay, take that global situation out of it. If we're just comparing the current bid to, okay, we gotta redo it again, all other things being equal, those additional costs are the left column. If you factor in, and it's reading a crystal ball that none of us have, what is this gonna be doing a year from now, or 6 months from now, when we're rebidding it, with the war going on in Iran, the fuel prices being in the mix, that's the middle column. Again, a very, very rough guess.
Okay.
None of us can predict the future.
Okay, makes sense.
So that's the top graph, or top chart, excuse me, table.
Yep.
The second one is essentially the same with just the overages. So top one is total project, the other one is just the delta.
Okay, Joe or Nick, is that a solid bid that we got? I mean, with the fuel cost going up and everything else, they can't sit there, okay, we have to put a fuel surcharge on.
If you award the bid,
That's locked in.
yeah, they're locked in. But they probably purchased the whole the project.
Right.
So they wouldn't be good.
Put that in perspective, Arnie, when we were talking with MnDOT yesterday about this, I took a rough guess of what the trucking costs were, and I went to the Federal Department of Transportation's average fuel price and compared the difference from a month ago to today, or yesterday, and that meant a $53,000 difference to the project in that 4 weeks' time. So in other words, and that's a rough numbers, by 30 days elapsing, if they hadn't bought their fuel already, they're spending an extra $53,000 for this project.
Yeah,
We would not have to pay for it if we did it
that
this
is,
year.
and then if we sit there and rebid it and everything else, then we're gonna sit there and probably get up, probably $100,000. Hope not, but.
Yeah, there's no way to know for sure.
Right.
That's right, that's the part that makes it hard, makes it not so straightforward a decision.
I think the other thing to keep in mind is these are some good guesses, and I've asked Nick to include some contingencies, just some what ifs. As a township though, and they've already included the engineering costs in here, so we can say, hey, this is how much more the engineering is going to cost us, but we also have maintenance costs for the road if we don't pave it. Crushed asphalt, blading, shouldering, if we do dust control, some of that, we didn't last year, but any sort of maintenance that isn't really factored in, I did ask him to put some of that in, and so he did, and that would be the maintaining gravel portions at roughly $10,000. And I think the last piece to say is that, we have a tough decision because we've been telling people, and we increased our levy, that we are going to be doing this project this year. So how do we manage that? We have $500,000, but it could be more, it could be less, but it could also be more. Or we could go through all of this and let's say it costs us $1 million to do the project, and we go through all of this and we do it all over again, and next year cost us 1.5 million.
Yeah.
And we ended up in the same place where we're at right now.
Exactly, that's what I was
And we
just
just spent
saying.
another year. Plus, we made every resident on that road deal with the gravel, and we had to manage that again for another year.
Any comments from the residents?
So this lowest bid, have you worked with them before?
Central Specialties.
Company?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Okay. And this is including the widening the road a little bit and everything like that, yeah.
The other piece, in case you're wondering, so Kendota's hitched their horse to our wagon with this. They can act independently, so if we don't award it, they can still do their project. They've already awarded it, they're going ahead with it. So they can do their bit regardless of whether we do or not. And the other piece I'll say is we have 30 days to decide yet. We have to award the bid no later than April 30th, our next meeting.
Larry, your thoughts?
I don't know. Having that, grant would be nice, but we're throwing it out a year. You know, everything could go through the roof. Will it go down? The odds are like 0.
Well, it won't go down, but it might not go up as much as you're thinking.
It's gonna go
It's
up.
very likely that it won't go down.
Everything's going up, and
That's
that's
pretty
gonna go up because of control.
Well, and not to interrupt you, Larry, but just to add, trucking costs. So what they factored in is, right now, we've got costs based on a hot mix plant a mile away. They've factored in the next closest hot mix plant next year based on what Warner is projecting that Todd County would do next year, or trucking from Glenwood, or trucking from all the other locations. So that is built in. It's all inclusive as we can be.
Right, thoughts?
Yeah, I think we started out like $1.2 million, wasn't it, $1.1 million for that estimate, and it came in $300,000 less. And if we don't, I think it's probably gonna lose, probably gonna burn $200,000 by the higher project next year. If we wait next year with the cost of everything else, I think I would just sign the contract and go that way.
Yeah.
I guess my thoughts are, I don't see it getting any cheaper. I think we got a good bid. We should move ahead. And like Joel said, plant's gonna be right in the area, so I think we should move ahead with that.
That would be my feelings too. I think we could eat up a great portion of that grant just playing games, and I would be in favor of moving forward. So we want to wait till next month. We want to present something to the residents, or we want to move forward, kick this can down, and then we would have to accept it tonight. Is that?
I guess my recommendation would be that we don't have a gun to our head. My recommendation is that we take a little bit and think about it. When you're taking an exam question, you know, your first answer is probably the right one, but when you think about it, we have a little bit of time. I think we should engage the residents. To me, there's a ton of pros and cons of this. I've made a few lists, and I'm inclined to say we should also go with it, but there's a drawback to it. The next time we go back to the state for the grant, there is a likelihood of them saying, well, we wasted our effort with you last time, why would we likely to give you a grant again next time? The other piece I would say is, as a board, or just board members, we kind of have a lose-lose. We don't take the grant. We walked away from $500,000 from this, that we got, not free, but we got some money. So now we're not fiduciarily responsible. Or we wait to take the grant and we play the game and go through the hoops and potentially spend more money. But we've waited a year, we've lost credibility with the residents who've been patient with us thus far. And we could end up costing the township more, or it could be less, but we wait another year. I think we should table it. I would call that we have a special meeting and we invite the Alcott residents and hear from them and have them help us inform a decision.
Would we have a special meeting, or could we do it on the next meeting, or is that too close to?
It's a lot to decide in one.
No, I'm just throwing out there.
Time to do that?
Well, we would have to, we'd have enough time for posting. I think it's a 10-day posting. So we'd have to post the meeting and then do a mailer, kind of like we did the one time, and
And then
send it out.
And you're both pushing the project back another month for the residents.
Well,
It wouldn't affect the project.
They would
have to
still
wait till the road
award.
restrictions come out.
yeah,
We would have, say if we had a special meeting in 2 weeks.
We
And we
turn it
could then,
around that fast.
we could decide
3 weeks.
on April 30th, and the project would still start in May or June. What we do know from Lauren Feldbaum is he said that Central Specialties, if we choose to award the bid to Central Specialties, we still have a choice of all the other bids. If we chose to award it to them, they are gonna start their paving project with hot mix plant as soon as road restrictions come off, and they'll be done by mid-June. So there'll be no delay to the road project being done, even if we award it April 30th. If we don't, then we have other procedural issues, and then we may as well pursue the grant, because we'll have missed our window and have to rebid anyway.
And there's no way that you could sit there and try for the grant, and still have it done this year.
Jackie tenaciously investigated every option.
I was so mad. Can you tell on the
Yeah,
Zoom?
it's a tough one.
That's what Lauren called me after and said, are you okay? Because you didn't say much. And I said, because I was mad. And I don't know who I'm mad at, Nick, honestly. I'm just
Yeah.
mad at the bureaucracy of the whole thing.
Yeah, they have to go through their process.
I
That's the
know.
way the grants always are, so.
I know.
When we've gotten other grants, we've gotten them for road projects, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
We never had this kind of crap.
Well, another lesson learned, and it's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Can we decide at the special meeting on this, or do we have to wait till, we could decide at a special meeting? So, what's this in this, we're on board with the special meeting?
What do you, is it good to do that or what do you?
Your call. I mean, they're elected officials. But
I think we gotta put this, we have to put this in front of the people. And this, as long as it's not hurting nothing, I think we need to do that. So let's schedule that meeting as soon as we can and let's try to be on board to award those at that time. I think the residents need this explained to them, and I think they'll be on the same page as we are. It's just that we need to explain it to them. There are people.
When is our next township meeting?
Well, we have Board of Appeals on April 14th.
Right.
Township meeting is April 28th, I believe. Just a second, I have it on the dust control. April 28th. April 28th. Maybe we can piggyback on Board of Appeals, I don't know.
On Board of Appeals, how many people are gonna go there at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday?
Oh, so you're saying, but do it in the evening, okay,
Gotta be an evening,
okay.
I would say.
I just think there's too many dollars at stake for us to not. We waited 2.5 years, giving it another due process just to discuss it with residents is proven at this point.
Let's set up a meeting
Okay.
as soon as we can.
I guess I'm
If
curious.
anybody has any stuff scheduled that they can't get to a meeting sometime in April, so let's set a date.
I'll shoot out, I'll double check with our attorney and then I'll shoot out the dates to you guys tomorrow.
Okay. Good.
Now, Joe, did you want to say anything about the mailboxes or will we talk about that at that meeting too?
Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, we
Okay,
have to first decide if we're doing the road or not.
yeah, right, you're right, never mind, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Mailboxes in front of the road.
Any other questions? Sorry, any other questions for Nick before?
Anybody got any questions here? For Nick?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything you did on this.
So the rest of this is irrelevant at this point, Scupper maybe bonding, well, we don't even know that, so this will table all of the Alcott Drive stuff tabled to that special meeting. Are we on board with that? Good. Moving on to item B then, local board of appeals equalization reminder.
Yeah, just a reminder, April 14th, 9 o'clock here at the town hall.
New business?
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Don't wait till the end?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to bring up that in the last month, I found out that there's another grant. You guys don't want to hear the word grant. It's like, Jackie, no more grants, stop with the grants. Sourcewell came out with a non-matching grant up to $30,000. It's, they just announced it, and it's called a community health grant. And it's for up to 5 different things: enhancing parks, trails, or recreation areas, expanding public transportation, but you can't use it on roads or bridges, improving library, initiatives that boost community vitality and economic growth by blending arts, culture, and literacy through public art, beautification projects, and creative programs in a shared public space. Or last but not least, community health and wellness projects or events that impacts the community as a whole. And you can apply for up to $30,000. Townships are also encouraged to apply. The deadline is April 22nd. And I just by chance thought of some of the conversations around the AED machines. So I just asked Sourcewell, would that qualify? And they felt that it would. So I'm just throwing it out there tonight to the board. If you would want to apply for the funds, I need a resolution stating that you'd like to apply for the grant and what your intent is to use the grant for, like the AED machines. That can include a platform, cabling for electricity. So I just wanted to share that with you.
I think that's a good idea, and, you know, once bitten, twice shy, but why not apply for a grant?
Gun shy, right, Jackie?
Kind of, but
Well,
Sourcewell,
we should get the Sourcewell grants, don't we?
yeah, we get them, and this is this is a no competition.
Yeah.
And no match.
I think we should do it. I mean, you know, $30,000. They estimate 10 grand each, but that's on the high end. These machines are somewhere around $7,800 a machine. Then it's got to be on a cement platform.
You might have 10, 11 ahead of time to get it all done. You might have 10, 11 ahead of 1,000 times to get it set down.
You know,
Or
the guy that's been doing this said that he has not gone over 10 grand. There's, you know, running the electric, okay, if we put one here, you know, we're not talking tremendous amount. If what's his name at Diamond Point says he wants it there, we're not gonna be doing a tremendous amount there either. The only other place is by somewhere on Angler.
So we need a motion?
Yes.
So do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Joe has made a motion. Do I have a second to apply for that?
Second.
Larry seconded, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
How many are you looking at getting?
3.
And you got the location you want?
One here, one at Diamond Point, and one somewhere around Angler Drive and Apple Trail.
Okay.
That's between Big Birch and Little Birch. There's year-round houses up and down that stretch on both lakes.
appointment of the township attorney.
Okay, so now we're gonna go through our reorg items. We've used Troy Gilchrist of Town Law Center, so you would wanna make a motion if you want to use him again.
I'll make that motion to keep him.
I'll second.
Dale made the motion, Arnie second, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries.
Okay,
Official newspaper.
we used the Sauk Center Herald and the Long Prairie Leader last year, so.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Arnie, Larry, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carried. Take deposit signatures.
Posting places were the Town Hall Bulletin Board and the website.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Close.
Joe and Larry, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carried.
The safe deposit box signatures would remain the same. It's our chair and clerk and treasurer.
I'll make that motion.
Arnie made the motion, I have a second.
I'll-
Dale seconded, all in favor?
I
Aye, opposed,
I have a question. Does Joe have to be, signed on here too if Jim is,
we have two already on there, so.
what he wants to?
We can check that out, because if Jim was gone and Joe had to sign checks, he probably needs to be on a signature card. Did we ever have you sign for on a signature card?
I don't believe so. We
Yeah.
haven't signed checks.
I know you signed checks before.
Oops.
We might need to check on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Checkbook.
Did you ever review one of those, Jim?
He makes me sign the checks.
Okay, thank you, Eric.
Okay, the next item is resolution number 2026-02. Resolution designating the depositories of the township funds. And those are Pine Country Bank in Sauk Center, Magnify in Melrose, and the Minnesota National Bank in Sauk Center.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Larry made the motion, Joe second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carried.
Okay, next item is resolution number 2026-03, resolution adopting the compensation and reimbursement policy for township officers. I did not make any changes to last year's.
I'll make that motion.
Larry made that motion, I have a second.
I'll second.
Arnie seconded, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carried.
Next item is resolution number 2026-04, establishing a Gopher Bounty. The proposed resolution is setting the Gopher Bounty rate at $3 per gopher, which is the same as last year.
I'll make that motion.
Arnie made the motion, I got a second.
I'll second it.
Joe seconded, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carried.
Next is resolution number 2026-05, resolution adopting the road standards policy. Again, we have made no changes to the road standards policy.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Joe, Dale, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. I'll make a motion that we keep the supervisors for the road committee the same.
I'll second.
Larry seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carried.
Okay, for lawn mowing quotes, I did send out 2 and received 1 back. So I'll give you that. And then I'll get your last year's. This is RJ, right? And RJ is in the audience.
So RJ, if you cut grass or going to cut grass, you go by, it looks bad, cut it.
Tommy.
3 times a week. I'll make a motion to accept RJ's.
I'll second that.
Miller made the motion, Arnie seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
So I sent out, 2 for, blade and grading, and we did receive 2 back. Here we go, and then I'll get you last year's.
I like that. Razor blade, please, and so-
What did you say, Mary? You mean the razor blade?
Razor blade things.
Oh.
Slice myself.
Yeah, don't cut your finger open.
It was just a signature. What was the other?
Yeah, for some reason that happened. Yeah, we can have good, but I don't know what's the number.
You want another dollar?
What's that? Great, so yeah.
That's about
Those the yellow, that comes.
I'm hearing more than this.
I wish some copy for it.
Oh.
Okay, July 2nd.
I'll text you.
Product order tonight.
Oh, but I helped with
The process of moving it along.
Recommendation, Art?
He's a little more than that.
Just.
Questions on this?
Well, I have, just for clarification, Greg, you're turning in a bid just for grading, no gravel stuff.
Yep.
And Herb, you're turning in a bid for gravel and grading.
Well, the separate,
It's two separate.
What's that?
they're two separate things.
But
But you'd be
Greg,
correct, yeah.
but Greg didn't turn it nothing for gravel. He just was grading.
I think with that in mind with, what we're, I don't know if you want to get the gravel bid, I don't know how many bids it was.
For gravel,
Yeah,
only received one from her green.
okay. And you probably have a good chance of getting the bid. So, I mean, we got some gravel roads and if we go haul gravel, and you haul gravel and blade at the same time, so let's say we're blading.
A motion, to present the bill to her from Arnie, you have a second?
I'll second that. I guess I talked to Joe and he said there's quite a bit of graveling to get done this year. So,
That'd be quite a bit. I guess the only thing I was gonna say, I was gonna second, but I was gonna say that, they'll lead me to it. I would like to see us awarded for all the roads that we're graveling, but maybe have Greg blade our two minimum maintenance roads that could use a touch up once or twice this year.
I would be on board with that.
Amend your motion.
Sure.
Now do I have a second? And then amended.
I'd second it.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, and so the last item is the graveling. I sent out 2 gravel quotes and I received 1, and then there's last year's.
Suspense is terrible.
You get more suspenseful Larry, and you cut it in half.
No, I'm peeling it off this time.
Larry, you're supposed to be like Johnny Carson, you hold it up.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Serving.
I suppose with this weather coming up now, the roads might get a little slimy here.
It doesn't sound real good the next few days.
No.
Yeah, it'll be a couple days, it'll be good again.
That's one thing, you know,
If you get a little wind,
this, it melts pretty quick.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's our last for us.
That's it. Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah.
See you, Jeff.
And that, it's a lot of work, but what I was,
I'm gonna do a motion for the work of
I know,
gravel bids.
I've been in depression.
Joe made a motion to accept everything for the gravel bid and Gail seconded, all in favor? Aye. Carried.
Who made the motion? Sorry,
Joe.
thank you.
Proposal for dust control.
So last year, we sent to Pertering, Knife River, and Central Minnesota Dust Control, just looking for a motion to do those three again, or to send out for dust control again.
Joe, you had a question on this, or?
Yeah, actually, I've been talking with Nick about, and we've talked about this for a while, as we look at our dust control, of maybe trying to tailor the dust control for the roads that get, gravel roads that get more or less use. And we talked last year about potentially putting strips out on the road and collect the number of cars that go. I asked Nick about that earlier this year, just to see if that's something that their office does, what the proposal would be for cost. And he actually came back with something really interesting. He said that the state of Minnesota is conducting a survey of road census based on cell phones that travel up and down the road across the entirety of the state. And that, at least within District 3, that we would maybe be able to get the data from the state and look at our roads. So he's pursuing that, and seemingly for low to negligible cost to us because they're collecting it anyway. So all I was going to say, I wanted to make us aware of that, but see if we could get that data, and as we look to award next month, that we could potentially use that information from the state to either look at doing 2 dust controls, maybe even 3 if there's a lot of traffic, or a half a dose just based on what that census data is.
Or concerns, thoughts, material-wise, would you have, when you order material, would you have enough to go more through the season, or you kind of order? Okay.
Yeah, we spend well, we pretty much spray all summer long.
Okay.
It slows down in the fall, but it depends on the fall. If it's a dry fall, then the demand, of course, is up with harvest and stuff, then we see a demand.
So our bidding process could remain the same because you would be looking at it, whatever you cost per time would just generate out
Right.
every time you did it. Okay.
Yeah, whether it's a half rate or full rate would make a difference.
Okay. And you put that on your contract.
Sure. Do that.
Yeah. So you need a motion to,
I'll make the motion to seek dust control quotes.
Joe has made that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Larry seconded, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
The cell phone thing is a cool thing, because U of M is doing that right now on the extension, or the expo building at the Todd County Fairgrounds. They actually did a presentation to commissioners. They could tell how many people 18 years and older were in the building every day, all summer long. And they were able to track it, where they came from within a certain mile radius, and where they left when they left the building at the fairgrounds.
The government does not track your cell phone, by the way.
Oh, by the way, Alexa doesn't listen either.
Bullshit. Yeah, it's kind of scary.
And we authorize it.
They figure out how many people have seen, the soil and water billboard that's up.
Okay.
How many have seen that billboard by the amount of cars that have driven by there?
So they just, everybody's seen it because they drove by?
You got it.
Bin striping, paint striping.
I don't think we have to do any this year.
Okay.
And I'm sure that's in the code with Elcott, that's, right? Yeah, we did all the rest of those last year, so we're.
And seal coating, are we gonna look at what this does on this one coat, kind of figure out what we wanna do on this?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not to send nothing out?
Yeah, I think we try the one, we don't need to send anything out, in my opinion.
Okay, are we good with that? Okay. Renewal of fire contract with the city of Melrose?
Unless the board has a concern, this is just a reminder to, if you want to terminate the contract or not.
Okay, Roman culverts, leaf blockage.
I have this on the calendar of events. I think at some point last year, the board had made mention of it. And that was checking frozen culverts for any leaf blockage. And then you called out 251st Avenue for damaged areas on the road.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's actually three things. So we have check for frozen culverts. We then have leaf blockages on the manholes that we put on Alcott, which I've inspected and they're good. And the third one was on the list of roads that we've been discussing that we need to do, 251st was added. And I've already met with one of the contractors and they're working on a proposal for it. I have yet to meet with another one. But we'll get a proposal next month for the roads, other roads to look at and our bids on.
Okay.
Okay. And then the last item is just a follow-up to the meeting, at the annual meeting, if there was anything that we needed to discuss. I just wanted to clarify, I need to indicate to the county that we had, the residents had agreed to increase the levy by 100,000 and to designate it to road and bridge. That was the decision, right? Because I do need to give that to the county tomorrow. Okay.
Informational items?
All right, we received an assessment from Main Street Title and Closing for David and Janice Richter, 11302, 251st Avenue, Sauk Center. I responded that there were no assessments. And then the last item was from Todd County Planning and Zoning. There's a hearing on April 2nd at 6 o'clock, which will be presented by the Towers LLC, care of Buell Consulting, 21794, State Highway 28, Great Eagle, the request for construction of a monopole for a telecommunication antenna and equipment. So again, that meeting is held on April 2nd at 6 p.m. at the Todd County Courthouse.
Any comments from the board?
Larry and I did attend the Med Association meeting last Friday. And now there was information on road stuff. Yeah.
Always learning?
Yes.
Good. Anything else? For motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Joe's made a motion, I'll second.
I'll second it.
All right, second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
114.